prince, had met her, Vivien, being greeted fair, would fain have wrought upon his cloudy mood with reverent eyes mock loyal, shaken voice, and fluttered adoration, and at last with dark sweet hints of some who prized him more than who should prize him most, at which the king had gazed upon her blankly and gone by, but one had watched, and had not held his peace. It made the laughter of an afternoon that Vivien should attempt the blameless king. And after that she set herself to gain him, the most famous man of all those times, Merlin, who knew the range of all their arts, had built the king his havens, ships, and halls, was also bard, and knew the starry heavens. The people called him wizard, whom at first she played about with slight and sprightly talk, and vivid smiles, and faintly venomed points of slander, glancing here and grazing there, and, yielding to his kindlier moods, the seer would watch her at her petulance, and play, even when they seemed unlovable, and laugh as those that watch a kitten. Thus he grew tolerant of what he half disdained, and she, perceiving that she was but half disdained, began to break her sports with graver fits, turn red or pale, would often when they met sigh fully, or all silent gaze upon him with such a fixed devotion that the old man, though doubtful, felt the flattery, and at times would flatter his own wish in age for love, and half believe her true. For thus at times he wavered, and that other clung to him, fixed in her will, and so the seasons went. Then fell on Merlin a great melancholy. He walked with dreams and darkness, and he found a doom that ever poised itself to fall, an ever moaning battle in the mist, world war of dying flesh against the life, death in all life and lying in all love, the meanest having power upon the highest, and the high purpose broken by the worm. So leaving Arthur's court he gained the beach, there found a little boat, and stepped into it. And Vivien followed, but he marked her not. She took the helm, and he the sail. The boat drave with a sudden wind across the deeps, and touching Breton sands they disembarked. And then she followed Merlin all the way, even to the wild woods of Broceliande. For Merlin once had told her of a charm, the which, if any wrought on any one, with woven paces and with waving arms, the man so wrought on ever seemed to lie closed in the four walls of a hollow tower, from which there was no escape for evermore, and none could find that man for evermore, nor could he see but him who wrought the charm coming and going, and he lay as dead, and lost to life and use and name and fame. And Vivien ever sought to work the charm upon the great enchanter of the time, as fancying that her glory would be great, according to his greatness, whom she quenched. There lay she all her length, and kissed his feet, as if in deepest reverence and in love. A twist of gold was round her hair, a robe of samite without price, that more expressed than hid her, clung about her lissome limbs, in colour like the satin shining palm on sallows and the windy gleams of March. And while she kissed them, crying, "Trample me, dear feet, that I have followed through the world, and I will pay you worship. Tread me down, and I will kiss you for it," he was mute. So dark a forethought rolled about his brain, as on a dull day in an ocean cave the blind wave feeling round his long sea hall in silence. Wherefore when she lifted up a face of sad appeal, and spake and said, "O Merlin, do ye love me?" And again, "O Merlin, do ye love me?" And once more, "Great master, do you love me?" he was mute, and lissome Vivien, holding by his heel, writhed toward him, sliding up his knee, and sat, behind his ankle twined her hollow feet together, curved an arm about his neck, clung like a snake, and letting her left hand droop from his mighty shoulder as a leaf, made with her right a comb of pearl to part the lists of such a beard as youth gone out had left in ashes. Then he spoke and said, not looking at her, "Who are wise in love, love most, say least." And Vivien answered quick, "I saw the little elf god Ilus once, in Arthur's arras hall at Camelot, but neither eyes nor tongue. O stupid child! Yet you are wise who say it. Let me think silence is wisdom. I am silent then, and ask no kiss." Then adding all at once, "And lo, I clothe myself with wisdom," drew the vast and shaggy mantle of his beard across her neck and bosom to her knee, and called herself a gilded summer fly caught in a great old tyrant spider's web, who meant to eat her up in that wild wood without one word. So Vivien called herself, but rather seemed a lovely baleful star veiled in grey vapour, till he sadly smiled. "To what request, for what strange boon," he said, "are these your pretty tricks and fooleries, O Vivien, the preamble? Yet my thanks, for these have broken up my melancholy." And Vivien answered, smiling saucily, "What, O my master, have ye found your voice? I bid the stranger welcome. Thanks at last. But yesterday you never opened lip, except indeed to drink. No cup had we. In mine own lady palms I culled the spring that gathered trickling dropwise from the cleft, and made a pretty cup of both my hands, and offered you it kneeling. Then you drank, and knew no more, nor gave me one poor word. Oh, no more thanks than might a goat have given, with no more sign of reverence than a beard. And when we halted at that other well, and I was faint to swooning, and you lay foot-gilt with all the blossom dust of those deep meadows we had traversed, did you know that Vivien bathed your feet before her own? And yet no thanks. And all through this wild wood, and all this morning when I fondled you, boon, aye, there was a boon, one not so strange. How had I wronged you? Surely ye are wise, but such a silence is more wise than kind." And Merlin locked his hand in hers and said, "O did ye never lie upon the shore and watch the curled white of the coming wave glassed in the slippery sand before it breaks? Even such a wave, but not so pleasurable, dark in the glass of some presageful mood, had I for 3 days seen, ready to fall. And then I rose and fled from Arthur's court to break the mood. You followed me unasked, and when I looked and saw you following me still, my mind involved yourself the nearest thing in that mind mist. For shall I tell you truth? You seemed that wave about to break upon me, and sweep me from my hold upon the world, my use and name and fame. Your pardon, child, your pretty sports have brightened me all again. And ask your boon, for boon I owe you thrice, once for wrong done you by confusion, next for thanks it seems till now neglected, last for these your dainty gambols. Wherefore ask, and take this boon so strange and not so strange." And Vivien answered, smiling mournfully, "Oh, not so strange as my long asking it, yet not so strange as you yourself are strange, nor half so strange as that dark mood of yours. I ever feared ye were not wholly mine, and see, yourself having owned ye did me wrong. The people call you prophet, let it be, but not of those that can expound themselves.